WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. I have something from Japan this time. Mars Whiskey, Asagi Madara, blended Japanese whiskey, aged 8 years, 2020 limited edition, Mars Shinshu Distillery. Okay. Now, I am not a Japanese whiskey expert. I'm learning still. So what I did is I looked at the bottle and went, oh, look up here. There's something called Mars. Okay, that's the brand name. So I was like, all right, good. I remember doing another one from a Mars distillery. So I pulled out and got here, this one. The Shinuzik, wow. Shinuki Distillery, also from Mars. So this is a second distillery, same brand. Now, I did put this briefly into my Google Maps, and I just took a look and saw where they were. They are 1,200 kilometers away from each other, 800 miles. It's 14, 15-hour drive between these two distilleries. One is not just in the middle, but almost in the middle in the Alps of Japan. And this is the very, 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 very bottom of Japan in the very south, in more of a subtropical type of environment. This cost me 108 euros. This cost me 199 euros. This is 3 years old. This is 8 years old. And now I'm trying to figure out why Mars Whiskey can demand a price like that. Now, many of these bottles are still in shops in Germany. Now, this is actually imported not by Kirsch. This was Kirsch, Germany exclusive. And this is imported by La Maison de Whisky. And so I actually went to the Whiskybase site, 165952. I found out that it's from the Mars Shinshu Distillery. And it has 48%, and the bottle code is 40P28. I have no idea what that means. But I do see that it's all over the place with the bottles. We have things in Poland, and Germany, and France, and Netherlands, in the UK, in Switzerland, in Norway, but also in Australia. So I clicked on the Australian link, and I went, oh, thank you very much, thedustybottle.com. You have some very good information here. It says here, Mars Whiskey is the whiskey-producing subsidiary of Hombo Shuzo, a renowned shoku producer in Japan. Founded by Kiro Iwai, IWAI, the company opened its first distillery, Shinshu, in 1985. Now, Iwai is famed for being the man responsible for dispatching Mazataka Takashuru to Scotland. And it's, of course, no coincidence then that the Shinshu sites stills are similar to those at Longmorn, also replicated by Takashuru at his Yochi distillery. Now, Shinshu was closed in 1992 due to lack of demand in Japan. So they opened up in 1985, they produced for 7 years, and they mothballed it. But the fortune of Japanese whiskey soon turned, and Mars Whiskey reopened it again in 2011. So they've been producing now for over 10 years. Yay. 8-year-old. Good. And then they established their second distillery here, Tsunukai, in 2016. Nowadays, Mars is one of the big major players in the Japanese whiskey market, bottling a number of sought-after blends, as well as their single malt brand. And their single malt brand is Komagataki. Now, the problem I have with this bottle, I'm going to talk about my problems here. Nowhere on the label or anywhere does it say single malt. It says the word single cask. It says second fill. It says Japanese whiskey, but nowhere does it say single malt here. And I found that a little bit disturbing, to be honest, all right? It's whiskey. It's 61% because this says it's a blended whiskey. Now, there's an interesting video you might know from Whisky.com over here in Germany, Whisky.de, Horst Lüning. And his son, Ben, goes around the world and visits distilleries and does like mini documentation of documentaries of those distilleries. And he actually was at Shinshu. And he's standing at the very beginning in front of these pot stills at the very beginning there that reference back here to our Kichiro Iwai. And that's cool. Now, he also shows the 2 pot stills at the distillery, which is fabulous. But this is a blended whiskey. Where do they get their grain? They don't make grain here. They don't make grain here, according to all the information I found. And usually it's said that Japanese whiskeys don't trade with each other, and whiskey distillers, brands, and companies. So where do they get their grain? Maybe someone's out there who's much, much smarter than I am, and they can answer that question for me. All right, so good. On the nose, I get the grain. I get a very young spirit. Driven is the positive way how Roy says something is too young. Malty, light citrus, bitter, almond moment here. And a little bit of like burnt caramel in here. There is no color added according to what I see here. It does not say anywhere here that it's natural color. Nowhere does it say non-chilled filtered, unfortunately. That's something that I would like to see on all my bottles if all possible. So this is 48%, and I do know that this is 61%. Now, I have in my glass something from my German video that I diluted down to 48% from this. So I added a lot of water so we can compare the two a tiny bit. Now, on the nose, this is not something I would like to drink. I would think I would prefer to drink a Paddy from Ireland more than I would like to drink this. And this is a 100 euro bottle. People, what's going on here? How and why can you demand 100 euros for something that's an 8-year-old blend? Most people in Scotland would almost be ashamed to put the 8 on their bottle, let alone calling it an 8-year-old blend. And then charging 100 plus euros for it, and then calling it a limited release. Limited is 500 bottles, 5,000, 50,000, 500,000, 5 million. I'm exaggerating, but hey, there's no information anywhere, at least I couldn't find any, telling me how limited this is. Sounds like a marketing gag. Limited. I need to buy it now. It's going to be gone. Fear of missing out. Quick. Cheers. It's hot. There's too much grain. And it's too young. It really just kind of, sometimes a whiskey will massage your tongue and just, it's just so good. This takes a little jackhammer and just jumps up and down on it. It's like needles peaking. It's so young and it's so, the word bright would be positive to say here. I don't know if I'd pay 30 to 40 euros for this whiskey. I'm going to give this actually a C minus D plus for the taste. There is a tiny little bit of a vanilla coconut moment going on here. There are some light fruits in there, but that alcohol burn just kind of makes this unpleasant, to be honest. Value for money, an F. I don't know why someone would pay 100 euros for this. Now, Jason, there's a butterfly on here. And this is a painting from a famous artist in Japan of the butterfly that migrates from the south up to the north of Japan. And every September, they stop at that village at the hillside. This is the highest distillery in Japan at 780 meters in height. And it's one of the best places to be. And therefore, this whiskey must be worth no more than it tastes. All right, I'm not buying a piece of art. I'm buying a taste experience. And I just don't know what they were thinking here. All right, so I cannot imagine this bottle being yummy for my tummy in any case here. So some of the people actually did put some comments in here. They're mostly in the mid 80s, to be honest here. Light smoke. Oh yeah, by the way, they use 4 different types of peat at the Shinshu Distillery. They have non-peated, they have 2.5 ppm, which I thought was almost nothing, but then I remembered Cragganmore does the same. Then we have 20 ppm, and we have 50 ppm. So this smells a little bit like those cheesy feet, and it has that little light smoke moment in here. Someone wrote down here, light smoke, vanilla heat, caramel sugar, orange marmalade, some smoky grain spirit. And the finish, it's honey, sugar, pepper, light wood, alcohol. And with water, there's more honey, cooked peaches in the nose, smoked peach flavors, and some more oak. Overall, nice, sweet, smoky fruit notes, a bit spiky, but an overall blend that is nice. I'm not sure about that. That's someone else's opinion here. All right, so I do not like this, but there's a lot of peach people say is going on here. All right, good. No, thank you. Now this, I just don't like the blend character of that. The grain is too young, and I don't know where they got the grain from. Over here, the 61%, this is basically, if I know my facts correctly, after the first fun Sunuki, this was the second bottling at all from that distillery ever, and it was a single cask just for Germany. Why they picked Germany and how Kirsch got it, that's their secret to be disclosed one day. I get some nice grain, not grain, so some malt moment here. I like this. This is not bad. A little bit more of the tropical moment here. A little bit of the malty moment. Very nice. For 3 years old, it's amazingly nice. Is this worth $200? 200 euros? Never. This is worth 30 on a good day, and this is worth 50 to 60 on a good day. That's it. Now, of course, we have to pay for the price. Oh, it's Japanese whiskey. Just double the price. All right. So if I'm willing to pay 30, so this is going to cost 60 now. And I'm willing to pay 60 over here, 50 over here to 60. Let's say I'm 120 now. And then we have to factor in the beautiful butterfly. Put another 20 euros on there. And we have to factor in, oh, it's Mars. It's a new brand in Japan. Oh, yeah. And that's where we get the 100 and so euros for that. Over here, the same thing. We have to factor in the scarcity of the bottles so far. And that's pure 100% single malt. Japanese whiskey made at that distillery in one of the first. And you have to triple the price sometimes, which it's just not worth it. I buy a bottle for the taste experience and not for the fancy history lesson. And so, hey, shame on me once for buying this. Shame on me twice for buying this. Both of these bottles have been shared about to the half. I have to fill up some more samples here and get rid of them finally, but it's just not worth it. Now, my question of the day is, what Japanese whiskey are you looking at? And your buy finger, I buy a lot of stuff online, so I click and I buy. I don't go to a store locally. Nothing would carry Japanese whiskey anyways over here in Germany. It's such a niche market that it's only sold online, basically. Which whiskey are you looking at and going, hey, I think I want to buy that soon? From Japan. All right, Nika from the Barrel, who knows? Hibiki Harmony, who knows when it'll ever show up again in Europe? Is it something from Mars? Is it something from someone else? Is it, what are you wanting to buy in the future? Write it down so maybe I can be inspired to research that as well and find out. There's so much more to learn about Japanese whiskey. It's a whole area of the world that after you learn a little bit about Suntory, after you learn a little bit about here, we have Suntory and we have, what's the other brand here? Wow, Jason. Nika. Those are the two that used to be the only ones, and now we have all these other new brands showing up. It's almost like Irish whiskey. At the very beginning, it was like, oh, I know Bushmills, and I know then Irish distillers. And then we have Cooley show up, and it was like, great, Cooley's been there for a while now. And then it's like, bam, 40 new distilleries. And it's like, I can't keep up. And if I can't keep up with the things I'm really interested in, Irish whiskey, how in the world am I going to keep up with things I'm not even interested in with Japan? I need other people to do it for me. So, Taipei Whiskey. He's doing a good job over there in Japan. So watch him. He's a big supporter of Roy, and Roy's a big supporter of him. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, tell others if you'd be so kind. And forgive me for being still in my infancy for learning about Japanese whiskey, in particular about the brand Mars from Japan. See you soon, Whiskey Jason. Bye-bye.